What is up, YouTube? Hope you guys having a good day. I just want to, share a little story of mine about the day when I got my LTC. So, long story short, if you don't really want to listen to me about the story, nowhere is safe. No matter what area you go, no matter what state, nowhere is safe because anything goes. Even if you think you're like one out of a million person, one out of a million person in the world that could happen. I mean, this could happen to you. I promise you, anything goes. The devil is always watching. God is always watching. If you're religious or not, they're always watching and they're always testing. You just got to be aware of your surroundings. Take a moment and just think about what just happened. But let me just go on and just say, so the day before I got my LTC, I was probably one of the happiest people or persons to be alive. Like me being a law-abiding citizen who wanted to get their LTC, I wanted to get my LTC just in case of a self-defense situation to where I'm certified on my gun safety training. I know the laws and regulations of my state, and I know how to use my handgun. So, that puts a good point of view in front of the judge or or the DA, whoever's deciding to prosecute me on my charges or whatever they want to do in that situation. Like I don't know anything about laws or anything like that. I usually just, listen to podcasts. I read up on it. But if I was you, everything I say about all this and that, just, think about it, but don't really take it serious because, laws always change and things are always uncertain. So you don't really know. But from a law-abiding standpoint, I assume that the LTC would help me in my defense if I were to get in that situation. I hope I don't get into that situation, honestly. I hope I don't. So the day I got the LTC, I was probably one of the happiest people alive when I got it, or happiest person. And on my way to work, I worked the morning shift, so 12 hours, and I usually work on the weekend during this time. And during this time, I was in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So my job was in Coppell, Texas at the time. And anybody who's lived in the DFW area know that Coppell and North Irving area, North Irving area and Coppell area are very high class. They're very rich. They're very expensive. Like you won't find anything that's mediocre or lower class in that area. So on my way to work, I wake up at 4 a.m. I wake up at 3 a.m. just to go to work at 4 a.m. because, I lived in South Dallas at the time. So it's about a 30, 35-minute drive. So, hear me out. It's $20 an hour, and it's only 3 days out of the week. So I had a pretty good schedule to do whatever I want throughout the week. So, yeah, so I'm on my way to work. And as I'm going into Cypress Waters, which is, going towards Coppell. It's literally like a block over. As I'm going to exit into Cypress Waters, I noticed this rough driver. It was like a beat up, either Honda Civic or Altima at the time. But it was hard to tell because I could just tell how rough they were driving. They were like in the middle of two lanes, and they were going side to side, like they were trying to like the rear end of people or looking for trouble. That's my first stop when I pulled into the exit. So I noticed they were taking up two lanes, and there's about, I think, 5 lanes at that stoplight at that time. And I pull into the far right lane so I can avoid them. And I needed to go to the far right lane anyways because I needed to go towards work. So as I'm going towards work and I go in the far right lane, I noticed they're pulling in right behind me. So as they're pulling right behind me, I'm like, oh snap, things about to go down now. So I speed up real quick. Like I go from 0 to 60 in like 5-6 seconds. Hear me out. I only got 4 cylinders in my car, so I'm flooring it. Like I'm doing the best I can. And I notice they're trying to catch up with me too. And I'm like, no, this don't seem right. They're trying to mess with me now. So as I'm flooring it, I notice they're trying to get close to me. they're on my tail. Like, you could say they're on my ass, trying to drive left or right, like, you know, pulling the steering wheel left or right, trying to look like they're trying to rear end me in a way. And I'm like, oh no, this ain't good. As I'm driving like 60 miles per hour down this 35 miles per hour speed limit road, I'm like, all right, I gotta change lanes. And I pulled the brake real heavy, and all I see him is going forward, and I'm like, it's time to get my gun out. So at that time, I had my Glock 17, which I still got to this day. I pulled out my Glock 17, and as I brake, I got my pistol in one hand, I put my hand on my steering wheel, I'm looking around. As I brake, I let the car go forward, and I can tell, like, from the look, they were looking at me, I was looking at them the whole time. So you already know things were about to go down, because road rage is very serious. I don't know in overall Texas area, but I know in the DFW area, people get murdered in road rage, and it's unsolved. Like, things don't play out on those highways. It's like the Wild Wild West out there. Like, you can see all these cameras and stuff, but most of the time they don't really do a full investigation. You could literally get away with murder on those highways, like, to be honest with you. But you know, I've never tried it, and I know my luck, I'm not gonna get away with it, so I don't even try. I just mind my own business and drive. So as they're pulling forward, they pulling forward, we're having eye contact with each other. And I'll be honest with you, it was a dark person because they had tint, but I could just tell they were looking at me while they were pulling right in front of me. And they're going to the other side of the road, and I'm like, okay, all right, we're good. They're driving away, and I'm minding my own business. I put my gun back in my holster, and you know, I'm going on my way to work. But in that moment, I realized that I'm in Cypress Waters, North Irving, Coppell area, one of the richest, wealthy class areas. Like, I'm talking McLarens, Lambos, just expensive ass cars that lower class people cannot afford. Like, it's the truth, but you don't see these cars in the hood unless they're like big drug pens, or, you know, as what they portray in these rap videos, entertainment stuff. But as I'm driving on my way to work, I'm like, wow, like, I literally just got my LTC yesterday in the mail, and this just happened in one of the richest areas in Dallas-Fort Worth area. So see, if you were emotionally disciplined or trigger disciplined to realize what was going on, I bet you 100% chance you probably would have pulled out your gun and waved it in front of that person to let them know, hey, you come any closer, I'm gonna shoot you. But see, that doesn't work out in the real world. You should never show your cards to anybody. Nobody needs to know you got a gun. All they need to know is that when you ready and they pull out a weapon, then that's your go time. That's your shot call right there. There should be no reason for you to be threatening anybody with a gun. I mean, brandishing a weapon if you don't see a weapon that's threatening you. But you know, most people aren't emotionally stable to accept that truth because they want to feel powerful. They want to use this gun as a way to basically demise this other person, so that way they don't get into a conflicted confrontation. But I knew that there was no reason for me to pull out that gun and brandish it in front of that person, because there was no reason to. In a state court of law, anywhere you go, I don't know about California and New York, but I do know that if that person is not 25 feet, that person isn't pointing the weapon at you, there should be no reason for you to pull out your weapon. No reason whatsoever. But in that situation, I knew I did the right thing, because they went away, and it was just like, it was the past now. But I learned from that situation to where not every situation calls for you to brandish your weapon or even pull out your weapon. But I was just pulling out just in case, if they wanted to play, you know, stupid games, win stupid prizes. But hey, it's just, like I said, it's funny. The day before I get my LTC, I got to be in that situation. And since then, it has never happened. But, just throw it out there. Nobody should know that you got guns, and nobody should know you have a gun on you. That's why I support and advocate for the gray man. There's nothing wrong with being a gray man, but just put it this way: the LTC and training goes a long way. Like I'll take it back. Training just goes a long way. Emotional discipline, mental discipline, it just goes a long way. But you know, most people don't want to talk about this because it's a gun and people feel powerful with guns, and that's why there's a bad stigma around guns. But you know, that's gonna be another time, another video. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy my story. I'll see y'all later.